Most High God Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, forever and ever, so let it be true. We're on another lesson. Today is Thursday, June 27th, 2024. And the last 2 weeks, I've noticed there's been a lot of police and SWAT team surveillance in the neighborhood. And the video that I'm gonna show you right now is a house that my mother owned here in Denver, and I lived right next door to her. She passed away in 2019, and me and my two sisters sold the house in 2023 to a Denver developer, and they're supposed to be knocking the house down in the middle of July. The last 2 weeks there's been a lot of police surveillance in the neighborhood with the SWAT team. So the house is empty, and they're doing training exercises right next to my home. And this is my mother's home. Like I said, we sold it to a Denver developer, and they're doing these training exercises. Yesterday, I came home after I did my video. The whole block was filled with SWAT trucks. The whole block. I would say probably 18 to 20 Suburbans, all black trucks, white with tinted windows, but they're about to do some drills, and it's right next door, and I'm on top of a building here, and I'm gonna take the video so you brothers and sisters can see this is what's coming. It's called in-house cleaning. They're going to be putting perimeters. See, they're already training for in-house cleaning. Okay, this is when they're going to go and put perimeters around the cities, and they're going to go house to house, and they're going to take your assets, and they're going to take your weapons. This is going to happen in every American city. Okay, so I'm going to take this video on top of this building that's just down the street from my home, and then I'm going to get closer and to my house and video it. But they're all gathering right now in front of my mother's home. Like I said, it's empty, and it's going to be knocked down, because I got a letter in the mail saying that, because we live right next door, that they're going to be knocking the house down. And but they picked this house to be doing these training exercises, okay? And it's gonna come to a neighborhood near you. This is coming, all right? So I'm up here on a balcony, and I'm gonna show you the men that are gathering outside right now. You can't see the rest of the block, but the whole block is filled with SWAT team trucks. And like I said, this is coming. Okay, this is coming to every American city and town in the United States. They're getting prepared to drag you out of your homes. Like I said, we're already in World War III. We're about to go into the second quarter of World War III. And this is where they're going to have lockdowns. There's going to be world lockdowns, and America is going to be locked down. You're not going to be able to leave the city, and the people in the country will never be able to go into the city. The people in the city won't be able to get out to the country. The highways will be locked down, and they're going to, like I said, they're going to go house to house. No one will escape what's coming. And this happens to me all the time. God shows me what's about to come. He'll send me the mice, the rats, the crows, those are signs of what's coming. And now they're doing these training exercises right next to my home. Okay, like I said, my mother used to live next door to me, and they've been doing surveillance for many, many years. Okay, and I just said that in my video yesterday, that men have been walking around my house. They take pictures all the time. They're in dark black Suburbans, black tinted windows. They're in the alley. They're in the front of the house. They're watching me. Just like I get up every day and Satan attacks every day. All right, this is part of being in this truth. But they're coming. Now you can see them. You see them walking in there. They got their dogs. Like I said, they're coming. I'm going to get a little closer. Like I said, I'm going to get closer. I can. So you can see a bird's eye view. But this is coming to every city in America. They're getting prepared. Like I said, they're going to drag you out of your homes. There's going to be these lockdowns. And like I said, you're going to see all these Christian leaders and these so-called politicians, and they're going to be pushing that agenda for the one world order. And whoever refuses the devil's chip will be picked up. And that draft is coming. They're getting these SWAT team members, the military, your army. They'll be going door to door, picking up young men and women for the draft. Okay. The whole block is filled with military vehicles, SWAT team vehicles, excuse me. But like I said, this is the branches of government, and they're coming. They're coming. They were here yesterday. Like I said, when I came back from my video, the whole block was filled. They were just staring at me. And my son, about 2 weeks ago, he told me there was 2 trucks with tinted windows in front of the house. I said, that must be the owner, that developer, because he drives a big truck. He said, they look like, they look like SWAT, my son told me. And I said, this is 2 weeks ago. And I said, no, I think that's the owner, that's that developer that bought the home. And it ends up, yesterday, the whole block was filled with the SWAT team, and they're in there today. They're going to be doing exercises. Like I said, they're going to be going door to door with that draft, when they push that draft, and they push the devil's chip. And they're going to be picking up people. That's why you brothers and sisters got to get strong in this truth and be ready, because God's going to test you. And only the strong are going to survive. Because many that know this truth are going to get that devil's chip. They're going to bow down to the one world order. So I'm going to get a little closer. I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. And I'll get a little closer so you brothers and sisters can see. And it's right at my door. So this happens all the time. Like before 2020, my whole backyard was filled with over 1,000 crows. I can't say much about 2020, but like I said, God will send me signs of what's coming. So hope all you brothers and sisters were edified with this lesson and get a little closer to water.
In Indiana, we found this minimum security state prison located in the middle of a U.S. Army Reserve training base, Camp Atterbury, just south of Indianapolis. These black vans at the prison drew our attention because people in Alaska had told us about dark vans driven by unidentified men in dark black uniforms carrying machine guns, stopping people on the highways. We also found these Indiana Department of Corrections employees dressed in black uniforms who drove one of the dark vans. We found that these state facilities are being built in the middle of U.S. Army property, not just in Indiana, but other states, as people sent us pictures of such facilities in their states, such as this facility at Camp Pinckney in Brighton, Michigan. You see not only the black vans here, but curiously, there are reverse swastikas carved into each end of the roof. We also began to receive information about the Federal Emergency Management Agency known as FEMA, such as these pictures of a FEMA facility in Texas. FEMA operations are divided into 10 regions, as we were told in this letter from FEMA. The American public has been led to believe that FEMA is for disaster relief operations. Yet if we look at military manuals, such as FM 4130, the U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Operations Manual, you'll find the details about who FEMA really is. The government doesn't want this information out because, as you can see, the manual says to destroy it by any means that will prevent its dissemination. The manual says that FEMA is the executive agency that serves as the point of contact for the USG for emergency management within the United States. Under Executive Order 12148 of July 20th, 1979, the President transferred all functions from the Civil Defense, Civil Preparedness agencies under the Department of Defense to FEMA. FEMA develops and implements overall concepts and policy guidance and directs activities for nationwide plans and preparedness for emergencies during peace and war. It also develops plans, systems, and capabilities for protection of the U.S. populace, government, and industry, and for stabilization of the economy in time of emergency. Again, we see from this military manual that FEMA is divided into 10 regions and is the command and control agency for all emergency planning. None of this sounds too sinister until you begin to find out what FEMA has done with 96% of their budget. FEMA has built prisons around the country, and they've also built underground facilities. It actually turns out that they are the key agency to implement a plan known as Operation Garden Plot, the plan to put American citizens in prison camps. Under Executive Order 12919, signed by Bill Clinton on June 3, 1993, presidential authority under a 1950s Defense Production Act was delegated to the Secretaries of Defense, Agriculture, Treasury, and Commerce to seize all civilian property for the government solely by declaring them necessary for national defense. It also gave the Director of FEMA the authority to implement FEMA plans during a national emergency. Most people don't realize that this country has been in a declared state of emergency since the Federal Emergency Act was enacted in 1933, which was the beginning of FEMA, and also gave presidents the authority to issue executive orders. Each president since then has issued an executive order declaring a state of national emergency. Bill Clinton has issued 3 such orders since he took office. Shown here is a FEMA facility in Denton, Texas, where you can see mile after mile of FEMA command and control trailers. These trailers are self-sustaining and contain electrical generators and communications equipment that can be moved out anywhere in the country to start a FEMA operations center. Several military manuals, such as these manuals, ranging from 1985 through 1994, speak of FEMA as the implementing agency for Operation Garden Plot, the plan to put American citizens in prison camps under military control. This 1994 Field Manual for Military Police speaks of Operation Garden Plot as a DoD civil disturbance plan that tells the military what they can and cannot do, and that they will operate under FEMA control. This is a FEMA facility in Denton, Texas, with Region 6 plainly noted on its sign from the FEMA regional map. Notice that this agency that is supposedly to protect us is highly guarded with electronically controlled fencing, topped by barbed wire, guarded by speakers and cameras. There are numerous sophisticated satellite, microwave, and radio towers inside the fencing. Much of this can be said to be needed in the case of a national disaster or emergency, but one recent communications development of interest is that all federal and state police agencies have gone to the same radio frequencies, so that we do now have a nationwide communication system among all the police agencies and FEMA. This particular FEMA facility can hold about 500 people underground. One way to determine the size of the underground facility are the vents, such as these, sticking out of the ground for ventilation to the underground areas. The FEMA plans to imprison American citizens have generated a lot of interest around the country in locating the potential prison camps throughout the country. These may be facilities currently being used as prisons, such as those you saw earlier, or prisons that are being built supposedly in the name of the war on drugs, or facilities that have other uses but which could be quickly used to detain large numbers of people, such as this Amtrak facility in Beech Grove, Indiana. We're standing now in the main parking lot, which doesn't look too sinister. At this level, it is a very large parking lot, fenced on all sides by fence topped by barbed wire. It also has these electronically operated turnstiles. There is also a surveillance camera, just like we saw at the FEMA facility, pointing out to the parking lot, and a helicopter windsock. All of these apparent security measures are particularly unusual here, because this is a very low crime area, and this facility is nothing but an old train repair station with nothing in it worth stealing. In this portion of the parking lot is a brick building, suitable for processing, next to a gate that leads right out to the railroad tracks, and all of this is contained inside a fully fenced area, now 3 layers deep in fencing at this point. This U.S. Air Force train indicates federal and military involvement. Facing the opposite direction, you can see that this area, too, is a very large fenced area with railroad track running the length of the fence, and plenty of warehouses. This facility was supposed to have closed in June of 1993, yet instead several $1 million in federal funds have been spent on supposed renovations over the past 2 years. Helicopter windsocks and markers are evident throughout the property. This small building is the only way into a particular fenced area. Inside this building, we see more of the motion-activated detectors, electronic turnstiles, and prison bars. All of the renovations to this property have involved putting in new fencing, electronic turnstiles, concrete flooring in unused warehouse buildings, and putting in large gas furnaces on buildings that were never heated any time in the past 20 years. Outside this building is fencing and a cattle run section of fence, all topped by barbed wire, pointing inward, not to keep people out, but to keep people in. This was common throughout the facility, particularly the new fencing that had been erected. In Inside the fenced area on the other side of the building, you'll see signs that say Red Zone, right up next to the railroad tracks that run the length of the fenced area. Next to the Red Zone sign, you can see closely numbered markers on the fences that are too closely spaced to be parking markers, just as if they plan to have people line up to board the trains. Here's a helicopter marker on the power lines outside the facility, indicating expected helicopter traffic, and again, another tall radio antenna. Looking around, you can get an idea of how huge this place is and how many people it could contain in its fenced-in area. In yet another fenced area, we see a large warehouse building at the end, with the electronic turnstiles in front of it. The building is one that has a new concrete floor, and its doors and windows have all been blocked. Outside, there are new gas pipes. Even as we were filming, a black helicopter flew over us, observing what we were doing, which has happened many times when we have been at the facility. The gas lines and gas pipes at the facility run the length of the buildings. And come out at some very, very large, brand new furnaces that have been installed at the buildings throughout the facility. We found this crane, which has seen better days, but is plainly marked U.S. Army in the middle of the stockyard. We found other fully working military trucks and equipment here at other times. Inside the facility, we found large fenced-in areas next to the railroad tracks marked Green Zone and Blue Zone, suitable for holding a lot of people. Many of the old warehouse buildings have had new concrete floors put into them. Unused sections of railroad track have been dug up and replaced, and from the supplies in the stockyards, it is obvious they will be doing even more construction and fencing. Senator Lugar of Indiana recently obtained more federal funding to renovate this facility, which is supposedly only for the repair of broken trains and where most of the buildings on the property haven't been used for years. It certainly appears they are expecting more than just broken trains. This tower, overlooking the entire facility at one end of the facility along the railroad tracks, also has a radio antenna on it with a ladder up inside of it. It would make an excellent watchtower. One thing we discovered last year are these stickers on the backs of traffic signs along highways in various states. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. These you're seeing now are in Indiana. We found a veritable smorgasbord of these stickers near Crane Naval Air Station. As we approached the facility, the stickers we could see were solid. And as we drove away from the facility, the stickers we could see were the same shapes and colors as those on the other side of the road, but they had holes in them. We believe these are what are called tachomars, which is a military acronym for troop transport markers. We have found these stickers in many different states, such as these in Michigan and Kansas. Following the blue ones in Indiana, we often end up at railroad tracks. In Utah, following blue stickers led to missile storage sites. Some stickers are put up by state agencies to mark the date that a sign is installed. These are easy to distinguish from the troop movement stickers because they have a date and the name of the agency that inspected the sign or sticker.